picture. I always think that that's super helpful, makes things a lot easier. So I have a line segment here where I've got J, which they gave us at 10, -2. I've got L at 0, y. We don't know what the y value is, but we know it's got to be on the y-axis, so the x is 0. And remember, those are called the endpoints of our line segment. It's just the points at the ends. Very creative name somebody came up with. And then they told us that k, the midpoint, which is of course just the point in the very middle of the segment, is x, 4. I write x because we don't know what the x coordinate is, but they told us the y coordinate is 4. So to solve this problem, you got to remember how that midpoint is calculated, or how you can calculate it. To find the x value of a midpoint, you do the first half of this formula over here. So you do x1 plus x2 divided by 2. And the x's are just the x coordinates of your endpoints. So one of them would be x1, the other would be x2. Doesn't matter which is which, you could flip those, doesn't matter. And then the y values are y1 and y2. So to find the x coordinate of your midpoint here, you would add up the x1, x2, divide by 2. And then to find the y coordinate of your midpoint, you would do the same thing, but with the y values. You add them up and divide by 2. And the reason for that is when you're finding the midpoint, you're really just taking the average of the endpoints. And to find the average of two things, you add them up and you divide by 2. So all of that said, it may seem like we have two things to do here, right? We're missing our x and we're missing our y. I said those backwards, but you get the picture. But in fact, we only need to find one of them because we want to find the coordinate of L. And if we look at that, well, we already have 0 here. We know the x coordinate. The only thing we're missing is y. And I'm going to find that using the part of the formula over here that has those y's in it. So remember, I just told you that to find the y value of your midpoint, right? So to find that 4, which we actually already have, you would use this formula. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, well, I want that formula to equal 4. I already have my answer. I know what that value is, or what it should be. And how did I get that 4? Well, I must have added y1 plus y2 and divided by 2. In this case, I don't know what that y1 was, right? Up over here I called it y, so I'm just going to write y plus, and then I actually do know the y2. I have -2 right there, so y plus -2. And so what I've done is I said, if I was to use this formula, right, add up those two values, the y and the -2, divide by 2, I should get 4. And that's super important because now I have a really simple equation that I can solve to find this y. I have all this stuff being divided by 2. The opposite is to multiply on both sides. So I'd be left with y plus -2, or that's the same as just y minus 2, equals, and then 4 times 2 is 8. And then one more step, I need to add 2 on both sides. Those will cancel, and I'll have y equals 10. Okay, so almost done. The only thing to remember is they wanted the whole coordinate of L. So our final answer would be that L's coordinate is 0, 10. So that's one way to do this problem, using the midpoint formula, just kind of going backwards. And hopefully that'll help you do some more problems involving midpoint.